Hey man, you got a second? Hey, yeah, hold on, I just gotta text the wife. No, I told you I have enough bunion cream. Love you, Pooh Bear. XOXO. Heart emoji. Kissy emoji. Alright, enough emojis. High five emoji. Eggplant emoji, and send. What's up? What's going on? What are you up to? Just about to shoot the June monthly build video. Oh, okay, cool. What's gonna go in it? Like an i5, GTX 1070, 16 gigs of RAM, ATX mid tower. You know, like I guess the usual. Again, doesn't everybody do that? I mean, I guess, but people seem to like it. What if you thought smaller? Like narrower, more focused? No. Like actually smaller. Like micro ATX? I mean, I don't know. I don't really have any cases that excite me right now, and I don't know. It's kind of boring. What about now?
Ready to dive into custom water cooling but unclear about what parts you might need? Check out Thermaltake's new M360 Plus RGB kit. Featuring a D5 pump res combo, 16mm hard tube, Pacific C Pro fittings, and the best RGB implementation on the market, the M360 Plus fits all mainstream Intel and AMD sockets and is fully expandable as your system evolves. Check out the link in the video description to learn more.
I am super excited about this month's build, not only because it's going to be an absolutely beastly machine, but because we're going to pack all that power into the smallest chassis we've ever built with on the channel. Not to mention that we'll get a chance to take a look at some brand new and very exciting products from the likes of Inwin and from Asus. We might as well start out by taking a closer look at the case for June's build, the just released Inwin A1. I saw this case at CES this year and immediately asked when I was going to be able to get one in the office to play around with. Inwin has managed to cram some really neat features into this tiny package, and they did it with typical Inwin style and outstanding build quality. The case looks like it's hovering off the ground due to the clear acrylic base, and when it's all powered up, we'll be able to configure the down-firing RGB ground effects that come pre-installed. It also comes with a built-in 600 watt power supply with cables custom tailored to the interior dimensions, meaning you shouldn't end up with 4 feet of extra PCIe cables balled up in the corner of the chassis, as sometimes is the case with other enclosures of this size. There's also a built-in Qi charger on top, so I'll be able to keep my iPhone topped up at all times. The A1 has 3 mounting spots for fans, and we're going to populate them with Inwin's brand new Polaris RGB aluminum. These are the premium version of the standard Polaris fans, and they just have this really sophisticated look with the all aluminum housing and modular daisy chain cable design. 2 of these will go down at the bottom for intake, and 1 will mount to the back wall as exhaust. Mounting also to that back panel will be Asus's brand new Strix X470i gaming motherboard. Even though the buzzword graffiti all over the PCB and M.2 heatsink might not be for everyone, this board packs some serious features into a Mini-ITX footprint. It has built-in AC Wi-Fi, solid overclocking support and power delivery, and multiple RGB headers. Plus, I think it looks great, and the completely color-neutral aesthetic will fit into any build. But we need a processor for that AM4 socket, and what better than the newest and most powerful mainstream chip from AMD, the 2700X. Not only will this power through video editing or encoding, music production, and gaming, but with a relatively low 105 watt TDP, we should be able to adequately cool it inside of this tight setup. Sporting 8 cores and 16 threads, the 2700X should be about as future-proof as it gets, even if that term itself is extraordinarily misleading. Since we are space confined here, I've made a decision that sticking with the Wraith Prism cooler and leaving our processor at stock clock speeds is probably the way to go. Fitting large coolers into this tiny box just really isn't feasible, and we don't want to run into a situation where we potentially encounter thermal throttling while trying to chase down those extra 4 frames per second in Unigine heaven. The Wraith Prism is a solid cooler and looks great too with the configurable RGB lighting on the fan blades and on the housing. For memory, we're going to stick with the tried and true 2x8GB kit of Corsair Vengeance LPX DDR4 3000. The 3000 speed kit will allow us to run at 2933 MHz, which seems to be Ryzen's happy place when it comes to squeezing out extra performance. Plus, this kit was one of the first to receive Ryzen certification, and it's low profile and won't get in the way in case things get a little tight during the build. For storage, while I don't yet have one of Samsung's new 970 EVOs in office, I have the next best thing, the 960. This 500GB drive is blazing fast and will sit nicely under the M.2 heatsink on the motherboard. I've been leaning more and more towards the M.2 form factor when choosing storage these days, as having less cables to worry about is always a good thing, and you also generally get snappier performance from your system all around. And finally, we come to our graphics card. The EVGA 1080 Ti SC2 is a standout performer in a crowded field, especially when you consider it is one of the cheaper options out there. The unique silver shroud with RGB lighting on the side and vented backplate make for a striking visual addition to your system, and the twin fans, ICX thermal sensors, and large heatsink make sure it runs cool also. Plus, you know, it's a 1080 Ti, so we've got some serious horsepower under the hood, which is kind of a metaphor for this entire project in general. A really unique presentation with some unquestionably powerful hardware packed inside. So let's get it together and see how it performs. I often like to make it known whenever I do one of these monthly builds that my testing is standardized. That is, I always test the same games at the same settings and resolutions. I do this to make it easy to compare results across multiple builds and even different time periods. However, when it comes to systems like this, I often find myself wishing that I had a different set of benchmarks lined up to handle more powerful systems, because this one just made our standard test suite look pretty silly. Even on ultra settings across the board, our 1080 Ti 2700X combo just crushed, putting up well over 100 frames per second in every title not named Ashes of the Singularity. We even almost broke 200 FPS in Unigine Heaven, a long-standing part of basically every reviewer's testing. In overall system tests, the real bench score trailed only those that I've built with enthusiast processors like the Intel i9-7900X, and the 1707 Cinebench score is just crazy for a non-overclocked $320 CPU. Also, we were able to do this without really pushing any serious thermal limits. Because we kept both the CPU and the GPU at stock speeds, and overclocking the memory doesn't really generate any additional heat, the Wraith Prism cooler kept things humming right along in the mid-60s while gaming, and the high 70s at load during Cinebench or Realbench runs. The GPU actually stayed even cooler, likely due to the infusion of fresh air coming right up from the bottom intake fans. Load temps in the mid-70s enabled a consistent, strong boost and prevented any unexpected slowdowns in frame rate. The build experience in the A1 was just really cool. I've built in cases this size before, most recently the Enermax Steelwing. In comparison, the A1's built-in power supply and actual cable management space behind the motherboard tray make for a cleaner build in every way. The power supply shroud also cleans up the interior, and the fact that I can mount 3 or even 4 actual fans in here means that cooling isn't an issue, as there is some real airflow going on. It was definitely fun putting something like this together and cramming so much awesome hardware into such a tiny case. Not to mention that it came out looking great, and I didn't hit any snags at all really during the build, always a sign that the engineers at Inwin put some serious thought into the A1's development. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the smallest build I've ever done on the channel, and at the same time, one of the most powerful. What a cool product Inwin has made here. I hope manufacturers continue to push the envelope in Mini-ITX design, so maybe we can have more innovation in this space. What do you guys think of June's monthly build in the Inwin A1? Are you interested in a case this small? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, don't forget that you can support BPS Customs directly by subscribing, checking out the new merchandise store, or even becoming a patron. As always, guys, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.